Everything seemed normal at first. The 2025 Chinese Grand Prix was unfolding like any other high-stakes race. Drivers pushing their limits, teams making split-second decisions, and fans glued to every move on the track. But then, something unexpected happened. A radio message from Lewis Hamilton surfaced, and within moments, it became the most talked-about incident of the weekend. What should have been a routine exchange between Hamilton and his Ferrari team quickly turned into a storm of controversy, leaving fans and experts questioning whether he had just crossed a line that could have serious consequences. At first, it was just whispers. Fragments of the conversation started circulating online, and social media erupted with speculation. Did Hamilton refuse a team order? Did he make a decision that went against the FIA's rules? Or was this just another case of selective editing twisting the truth? The more people listened, the more opinions divided. Some believed Hamilton had done nothing wrong, that his words were taken out of context, while others were convinced that this was a direct violation of the sport's regulations. But as more details emerged, one thing became clear. This was bigger than just a simple radio message. The FIA is now under pressure, with demands for a full investigation into what was said, why it was said, and whether any rules were broken. Ferrari, already dealing with a challenging season, now finds itself caught in yet another off-track drama, forced to defend its driver while also facing growing scrutiny. The paddock is buzzing with tension, and everyone wants answers. Did Hamilton really make a decision that could land him in trouble? Was there a misunderstanding between him and the team? Or is this just another case of Formula One's media machine, creating controversy for the sake of entertainment? There's more to this story than just the headlines. To understand what really happened, every detail needs to be examined. What exactly did Hamilton say? How did Ferrari react? And most importantly, what could this mean for his season and the future of Formula One? This incident has raised serious questions about communication, fairness, and the fine line between following the rules and pushing the limits. Now, as the debate rages on, the racing world is left wondering, did Lewis Hamilton break the rules in China, or is this just another overblown controversy? But as the debate continued, more questions started to emerge. The controversy wasn't just about what Hamilton said, it was about what the world was allowed to hear. Formula One's official broadcast only aired a small part of his radio message, leaving out key details that could completely change the way people understood the situation. This wasn't the first time something like this had happened, but this time, the stakes were much higher. Fans, analysts, and even rival teams started questioning whether the way F1 edits and presents team radio messages was creating unnecessary drama rather than showing the full truth. Hamilton's conversation with his Ferrari engineer should have been straightforward, but what was actually aired to the public made it sound like he was resisting team orders, refusing to cooperate when the team asked him to swap positions. That short clip spread like wildfire. Social media exploded with criticism, and within minutes, people were calling Hamilton selfish, accusing him of putting his own interests above the team. Some even said he was already struggling to fit in at Ferrari, that his relationship with his new engineers wasn't working, and that his past success was making him too stubborn to adapt. But then, the unedited version of the conversation was revealed, and suddenly everything looked different. It turned out that before the part that was aired, Hamilton had already suggested letting his teammate through. He wasn't disobeying team orders, he was actually the first one to bring it up. He had recognized that his car wasn't performing well, that his grip was fading, and that swapping positions made sense. But instead of showing that part of the message, F1 only broadcasted his response where he seemed hesitant, making it look like he was resisting the decision. That small missing detail completely changed the story. This raised an even bigger question. Was this just an accident, or was it done on purpose? Was it simply a mistake? A case of choosing what to air in the middle of a chaotic race? Or was this an intentional move to create controversy? Ferrari was furious, with team principal Fred Vasseur openly criticizing the way the broadcast was handled. He made it clear that this wasn't just a minor misunderstanding. This was something that could damage Hamilton's reputation and cause unnecessary tension inside the team. And with Ferrari already under pressure from a difficult start to the season, the last thing they needed was a false narrative making things worse. So now, the focus has shifted from Hamilton's actions to the way F1 itself handles team radio. Did the way the broadcast was edited change the entire meaning of the situation? Was this an honest mistake, or was it done to stir up controversy and drive more headlines? And most importantly, how much can fans really trust what they hear during a race? What started as a simple radio message has now turned into a full-blown investigation. information, and with every new piece of information that comes out, the truth is getting harder to ignore. As the full radio exchange came to light, the backlash grew even stronger. Ferrari was quick to respond, and team principal Fred Vasseur didn't hold back. He openly criticized the way the message was edited, calling it a complete misrepresentation of what actually happened. To him, this wasn't just a small mistake. It was a serious issue that put Hamilton in a bad light for no reason. He made it clear that Ferrari would not stay silent while their drivers' actions were twisted to create unnecessary drama. The frustration in his words was obvious. Ferrari was already dealing with enough challenges this season, and now they had to fight a battle that had nothing to do with what actually happened on track. The FIA knew they couldn't ignore the situation. With pressure mounting from both Ferrari and the fans, they announced an internal investigation into how radio messages are chosen and edited for live broadcasts. They claimed that the missing part of Hamilton's message was not left out on purpose, saying that during the chaos of the race, certain messages don't always get aired in full. But for many, that explanation wasn't convincing. If it was just an accident, why did it always seem to happen in moments that caused controversy? Why did it always seem to fuel debates rather than provide clarity? This led to an even bigger discussion about whether F1's media team was crossing the line between storytelling and manipulation. Everyone knows that Formula One is as much about entertainment as it is about racing, the drama, the rivalries, the tension. It's part of what makes the sport exciting, but when does that go too far? When does editing a moment for excitement turn into changing the entire narrative? If a simple decision about what radio messages to air can completely alter how people view a driver, then how much of what fans see and hear during a race can really be trusted? Some believe this was just an unfortunate mistake, a case of poor timing rather than deliberate deception, but others aren't so sure. Ferrari has every reason to demand more transparency, and for Hamilton, this situation is yet another challenge in what has already been a difficult season. The FIA's investigation may provide some answers, but for now, the damage has already been done. A single radio message, just a few missing words, has managed to shake the paddock, and the debate over what really happened isn't going away anytime soon. With the FIA's investigation underway and Ferrari demanding answers, all eyes are now on what happens next. For Hamilton, this isn't just about clearing up a misunderstanding. This could directly affect his season, his relationship with Ferrari, and even his championship hopes. If the FIA finds any evidence that he violated team orders or broke any regulations, there could be consequences. Penalties in Formula One range from fines to grid penalties, and in extreme cases, even race disqualifications. While it's unlikely that Hamilton would face severe punishment over a radio message, any ruling against him could still leave a permanent stain on his reputation. But beyond the personal impact on Hamilton, this controversy raises a much bigger issue for Formula One itself. The sport has always walked a fine line between competition and entertainment, but when broadcast edits start shaping the way fans perceive events, it becomes a problem. F1 has spent years trying to build credibility, promoting itself as a sport driven by precision, data, and fair competition. But when a selectively edited radio message can change the entire narrative around a driver, it raises the question, how much of what we see is the truth and how much is just for show? Ferrari is right to be concerned. If one of the most respected teams in the sport can have its internal communications misrepresented so easily, it puts every team at risk of being misunderstood, criticized, or even unfairly judged. It also puts drivers in a difficult position. If their words can be taken out of context at any moment, how much can they really trust the system? How can they focus on racing if they have to worry about how their conversations will be framed for the world to see? This incident has also sparked a wider debate among fans. Some believe this is just another sign that F1 is prioritizing drama over accuracy, trying to manufacture rivalries and controversies to keep the audience engaged. Others argue that it's just an unfortunate mistake, a side effect of the fast-paced nature of live broadcasting. But no matter which side people are on, one thing is clear: this isn't the first time something like this has happened, and if nothing changes, it won't be the last. For Hamilton, the challenge now is to move forward. Whether or not the FIA finds anything against him, the damage has already been done. He now has to rebuild trust, not just with his team, but with the fans who were quick to judge him. And for Ferrari, this is yet another obstacle in a season that has already been full of difficulties. They came into 2025 with hopes of fighting for the championship, but between technical struggles, internal miscommunications, and now a media controversy, they are being forced to fight battles on and off the track. As the investigation continues, the bigger question remains: will this be a wake-up call for Formula One, or just just another controversy that fades away until the next one takes its place. Meanwhile, fans remain divided. Some believe Hamilton was at fault, arguing that he could have handled the situation better regardless of how the message was presented. Others feel that he has been unfairly treated, that his words were taken out of context, and that this is just another case of the media shaping a false narrative. But regardless of which side people are on, one thing is certain. This incident has exposed deeper issues within the sport. As the season moves forward, this won't just be remembered as a simple team radio misunderstanding. It will be remembered as a moment that forced people to question how much of what they see in F1 is the full truth. And for Hamilton, Ferrari, and the sport as a whole, what happens next could shape not just the rest of the season, but the future of Formula 1 itself.